Hello and welcome to Trend Watch 777. Guess what? Donald Trump is in hot water. Well, I wouldn't say hot water, but he's been catching a lot of backlash for his recent shenanigans with the Obamas living in his mind. He posted a racist video on Truth Social depicting former President Obama and First Lady Obama with uh, apes or monkeys, as heads. So, but anyway, the video was later deleted after it was up there for 12 hours. And I am going to switch over here and we're going to watch a news story. Shout out to KWTX News 10 that's covering the story. Trump's post showing Obama's as primates is deleted after backlash. Despite White House earlier, they defended the video. So, of course, they did. Let's see what they're talking about here.
Late last night, President Trump reposted an election conspiracy video that included this racist image. As you can see, the faces of former President Barack Obama, the former First Lady Michelle Obama, are put onto. Moments ago, the president deleted this post with this image. A senior White House official tells CNN a White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down.
How is that even possible? A White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down. How can that be how can that be an error? Seriously.
Now, that was after Republican Senator Tim Scott, the only Black Republican senator, responded to the video on social media, writing, quote, "Praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it."
I wonder, it must be tough on him that he's the only Black Republican and senator, the only Black one. Boy, I could just imagine how he's treated and how they speak about him behind closed doors.
Now,
He's supposed to be. And he's supposed to be, I thought he was close to Trump at one time. I don't know if they're still close, but I thought they had they portrayed themselves to have like a decent relationship.
Seemed like the president or somebody in the White House listened because, as we said moments ago, it was deleted from the president's handle on his social media platform. Now, it's worth noting, Senator Scott is usually a very close and is a close Trump ally. He also leads the Senate Republican campaign arm, which means his job is to get GOP senators elected and reelected this November. I'm joined by a terrific group of reporters here. Elena, I want to go to you first because you've been doing reporting on this, and just give some context about the time of day, this time of night this was. The White House is now, and this is just developing like in the last few minutes, the White House is now saying, just to underscore that was your reporting, that it was a staffer who did this. This was part of a series of posts and reposts from this president last night. And I just want to know from you, is this something that a staffer does at 11:30 or midnight on a typical day, or is it usually the president himself?
Yeah, it's hard to buy, to be honest, because 11:44 p.m. is when this was initially reposted by the president in a series of other posts, as you pointed out, Dana. Typically, very few people actually have access to the president's Truth Social account. A lot of the times, they'll write him statements, and then they'll bring them, to example, to Dan Scavino, the White House Deputy Chief of Staff.
That's what I was wondering myself. Like, how many people have access to his account? I mean, he owned Truth Social, so I'm pretty sure he didn't give too many people access to at least his personal account there.
Staff, and he's the one who will then go on and post it. So just so you know how it typically works with these truths. So that seems kind of far-fetched. The other thing I would remind you is that we did see a statement from Caroline Leavitt.
Let me put that up. Let me put that up. So this is before somebody at the White House took that down after Tim Scott put out the statement that he did. This is Caroline Levitt. This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop reporting the fake outrage and report on something today that actually matters to the American public.
I was very surprised when I saw that statement, honestly, because
She's delusional.
if you actually look at the post, what I would have assumed, just knowing this White House and covering them as long as I have, I would have assumed that they would have claimed it was at the very end that that clip showed of the Obamas, that they would have tried to say he didn't see it and try to discount it that way. That post almost seemed like they were owning up to it and saying, yeah, you know, there's nothing wrong with it, trying to dismiss the outrage. The other thing I want to say, too, is you mentioned, you know, what we heard from Tim Scott this morning. He is one of the president's closest allies. He talks to President Trump all the time, very regularly, multiple times a week. So what he said, I wouldn't be surprised if he had called him. I did talk to some of my sources on Capitol Hill, one of them telling me that Republican lawmakers were calling the president about this. I know that people inside the White House were also asking the president, how do you want to handle this? So this clearly became much bigger this morning, particularly around all of the criticism that came out from his strongest allies.
And Zolan, you also cover the White House. I want to add, we talked about Tim Scott, which was pretty fast and very, very strong, calling it racist. This
What
is
else you gonna call it?
from Roger Wicker, who
Seriously, what else are you going to call it?
is also a Republican senator, senior Republican senator, who said on social media, this is totally unacceptable. The president should take it down and apologize. We haven't heard apologize. Pete Ricketts, another Republican senator, even if this was a Lion King meme, a reasonable person sees the racist context to this. The White House should do what anyone does when they make a mistake, remove this and apologize. So remove it, yes. Apologize, not yet.
Remove it eventually, right? I mean, when this was really coming into the spotlight.
It was from my understanding, it was there for at least 12 hours before it was taken down.
Like this morning, as you saw, you had Caroline Levitt's statement there.
Taken down.
They're kind of belittling this as fake outrage, and they didn't initially, you know, delete it when they were faced with immediate questions. Yes, they have now. And talking to historians and, you know, just other people reacting to this post, you do hear people saying that those with common sense would see this as a racist trope, right? That it channels the minstrel depictions that you would see from slave traders and segregationists that sought to dehumanize Black Americans, particularly prominent Black Americans as well, to see them as inhuman, right? And I think that's why you're seeing this outrage, including cracks in a Republican base and Republican members of Congress that seldom criticize this White House. It's also just worth saying, like, this is definitely something that has seemed to provoke criticism we don't usually see, but the president does have a history of posting and saying derogatory.
Absolutely. And we're going to go over some of the history and some of the things that Trump had said throughout the years. We're going to go over some of the things that he has said and done.
Things about people of color, of immigrants. It wasn't too long ago, he went on a xenophobic tirade against Somalis as well, and Somali Americans. During the campaign, we remember the comments, the false comments about Haitians eating pets as well, that I know prompted a lot of fear in that community. So, you know, this is a president also whose political rise came about from questioning the citizenship of the former president as well. So, you know, you've seen that the standards have almost been lowered to the point where you can see these kind of posts and a White House that thinks they can also talk their way out of it and say it was, you know, a staffer that posted it. But there's been a sort of trend of how we got to this point as well.
There was also that, just when you were running through some of the past times we've seen, you know, the president posts things like this. Remember, I mean, and they still post this, the White House, the sombreros on Hakeem Jeffries, obviously a Black man, and Chuck Schumer. And they've continued to lean into that. So I just wanted to add to that because that's not something they've run away from it like they have in this case.
And I just want to underscore, because there's a lot coming at you at home, what Elena reported at the top, which is that her sources have been telling you that Republican lawmakers called Trump directly about this. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, we saw another member, Mike Lawler, who's in a tough re-election battle for his district in New York State, also do the and apologize, as you're saying. So it's interesting to hear a lot of Republicans using that word. They're seeking an apology as well, or believe Donald Trump or the White House should offer one.
Apology. Why would you ask a person to apologize when you know they don't mean it? They're not going to mean it. That's just a word. That's just a word. That in order to be apologize to someone and you mean it, your heart must change along with it, and that means you no longer have those kinds of feelings in your inner self or in your heart. For him to make statements and do things he's doing, that's in his heart. He's not just doing it just to be doing it. That is actually how he feels. And for him to come up and they want him to apologize for what? He's not going to mean it. No, it's just going to be words. Now, take the post down and stop doing what he posting things like that, perhaps. But apology, no, he's not going to mean it.
There is, when stuff like this happens, there's all this, was there a strategy behind this? Was he doing? And it just feels all ridiculous to me. Like, it's a blatant racist trope. I mean, that's just a fact. It's a blatant racist trope on the social media feed of the President of the United States of America. It doesn't belong anywhere. It certainly doesn't belong on a social media feed of the President of the United States of America.
Right. And he has the highest position in the land. He's our leader, the United States of America. You just see how low we have caught. I mean, just brought the standards all the way down.
Secretary can bemoan fake outrage, which clearly it seemed like she didn't understand where she was not reading the room correctly, like didn't understand where this was going and how quickly the White House was going to take it down. Because to your point, I don't think she would have offered that statement if she thought this is where it was going to be a couple of hours later. But it is so clearly unacceptable. And then you wonder and think, does Donald Trump, is he reading the room right? Has he lost, because what you're saying of all these cracks and Republicans calling and saying, and really quickly, much more quickly than we normally see, I take away this, I think he has lost a bit of the assuredness political footing beneath his feet right now. He is at the political low point of his term right now. We are months away from a midterm election. We know how nervous Republicans are. And I think that speaks to the speed in which something this blatantly wrong gets called out from his own party as wrong.
Yeah, and I wonder how many of them actually meant. I wonder how many of them actually meant the Republicans actually meant. Where's my microphone? It disappeared. Actually meant what they say. I think some of them called and laugh, tee, hee, hee, ha, ha. Good one, sir, ha, ha, ha. But, just like humor the people and take it down. All right, so some of the comments said, guess who is not in the files and who is thousands of times. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Bam. That's exactly what I said. So, all right, so here's another clip from the MS Now. Here's another clip of them reacting to the racist video that Trump has posted.
President Trump shared on his social media platform last night. A White House official now telling MS Now a staffer erroneously made the post, but it was 12 hours before it was taken down. Also, I want to make clear that we would not usually show racist content, but will because the president posted it and to inform this important conversation. You can see this post. It depicts former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes in a jungle. It's at the end of a video promoting false claims about voting machines and the 2020 presidential election. In a statement responding to the backlash over the video before it was taken down, the White House press secretary said, "This is from an internet meme video depicting President Trump as the king of the jungle and Democrats as characters from The Lion King. Please stop the fake outrage." None of the rest of that video is included in what Trump posted.
I don't know anything about The Lion King. I didn't see their videos, but they have apes or something in it. The Lion King, I don't know. And then, if it was depicted Trump as the king, he would have shown that. He would not have left that out.
Only the Obamas. Joining me now, Simone Sanders Townsend, MS Now co-host of The Weeknight and former chief spokesperson for Vice President Harris. Eugene Daniels, MS Now senior Washington correspondent and co-host of The Weekend. They are also the hosts of a brand new MS Now podcast, Clock It, with Simone and Eugene. Simone, as a former communications director, what do you make of the White House statement?
Chris, they think we haven't seen The Lion King. There are no apes in The Lion King. There's not one ape.
Okay, that's what
There's
I thought.
Abe Rafiki. He is actually central to the story, but there's not one ape in the movie. So let's just be for real right now. That was.
It's amazing she would say something like that, but that's the same thing I said. I mean, the commercials, I've never seen an ape in The Lion King.
There's not an ape in The Lion King. So I would have never put out a statement like that. The one time somebody thought the person I worked for did say something that was racist and inhumane, I went to my principal and encouraged the principal to apologize and explain to them why what they said was problematic, okay? So Eugene, I cannot grasp this. This is the last thing I'll say. It is not racist because it is offensive. It is offensive because it is inherently racist. The trope about depicting black people as animals goes all the way back to white Europeans looking for a justification for colonization and the enslavement of African people. And it gained prominence in the 1700s and 1800s, and it became a racial, like a scientific theory. I'm using air quotes. And it was a mainstream theory that put a hierarchy that said white Europeans were at the top and Africans were at the bottom. And depiction of apes was very central to this theory. They were at the bottom. They were closer to primitive beings such as apes. Therefore, black people, specifically in that time, Africans, were better suited for forced labor and domination. So it is racist because the root of this theory, this trope, this joke, okay, that the White House is talking about, is rooted in the ability to dominate, rape, pillage, and inflict violence upon black people.
I will say, Eugene, that this post is being condemned from both sides of the aisle, including Republican Senator Tim Scott saying it's the most racist thing he's seen out of this White House. The implication, of course, is that it's not the only racist thing.
I don't know with Tim Scott. I think I don't know. The most racist thing, I don't know. There was some other thing.
But I wonder if you think there is some line with this that has been crossed. And by the way, the posts that have been racist in the past have been posted on official government accounts. These are not individuals within the government who are posting things on their private accounts. I'm sorry, Eugene, go ahead.
No, that is a really important point, because that means that we all paid them to post a racist thing on the internet, right? That is a really important point. You're right. We're hearing from Tim Scott. We're hearing from Mike Lawler, some Republicans who have issues with this. Tim Scott, of course, being the only black senator on the Republican side, and being someone who has been close-ish to this White House. But I will also say this is who Donald Trump is, right? And I think the Republican Party has to accept that. We as journalists have to accept that. The American people have to accept that. The world has to accept that. This is a man who spent money to take out a full-page ad calling for the execution of 5 black and brown men.
Right, and I'm going to show you the ad that he's referencing to.
Now the exonerated 5. This is someone who spent months and years saying that Barack Obama was not born here, that the racist trope about this, this interloper who doesn't belong here, who is someone who is not a part of the American experiment, the first black president of this country, that's what he spent his time doing. So this is the idea from this White House that this was an accident, the idea that this was just a meme that was posted. This is who Donald Trump is. And even if it is true that a staffer posted it, right? Well, I think we all have a lot of questions about that. If it's true that a staffer posted it.
Right. Who's the staff and what measures was taken? I mean, Did he fire the staff? Did he reprimand the staff? Did he demote the staff? Where's this mysterious staff person at?
This person believed that it represented the thoughts and the feelings of the president in which that they serve. And that says a lot, that they thought it would be okay.
Right. So comfortable with posting it.
It was up for 12 hours because they do not care. They think it is okay to be racist and treat black and brown people terribly in order to, quote unquote, own the libs. And I think we just have to be really honest about what that means, because it means it's a lot about where we are as a country and how we're going to operate the rest of this presidency and really the Republican Party moving forward.
Well, let's talk about what else is happening.
Yeah, and that's the color, the tone that's coming out from the White House, the highest position in the land. I mean, that they set precedents. People follow what comes from the top down. It just so polluted the White House. This just brought the standards and the morals. It's like moral decay. Everything is just so low class coming out that this administration.
Right now, Simone, I mentioned this image of the Obamas was inside a video focused on false theories about election fraud in the 2020 election. Trump, of course, has come under fire for saying he wants to nationalize election in 15, he calls crooked states, because, quote, these people were brought to our country to vote and they vote illegally. What is Donald Trump trying to accomplish here?
It is this. I'm sorry. This is too much. I just think we need a do-over. So this idea, first of all, I do think he is trying to steal the election. And I'm not talking about manipulating votes when I say that. I think I'm talking, so let's just be clear. What I'm talking about is the actions that the president himself and the people around the president have taken. The executive order that he put out about elections at the beginning of this presidency, the call to not Georgia, but to Texas last year, asking them to find him 5 more seats. That is what kicked off this mid-decade redistricting, to manufacture more seats to manipulate the voters, because the president does not believe that he could win as the maps currently stand. I'm talking about the election deniers that have been given roles within the Department of Homeland Security, made up roles over election integrity. One of the ways he will try to steal the election is he's asking these states for voter rolls across the country. Why do you need the voter rolls? Well, what do voter rolls contain? They contain personal information, such as your social security number, names, and whatnot. Potentially, that could be used to target people with misinformation and disinformation. We already know from reporting that has at least.
Isn't that we was asking for, or was trying to bargain for, in order for ICE to leave Minnesota? He wanted those voter rolls.
At least 2 staffers from DOJ, according to Bloomberg reporting. A whistleblower noted that they had referred the actions up to disciplinary chains because these DOJ individuals had given sensitive information to a voter advocacy group. I highly doubt that those people were looking to elect Democrats. So I like the going in and seizing ballots out of Fulton County 6 years after the election was happening. If they're willing to do that for an election that happened 6 years ago, what do you think they're willing to do in the election coming up? So I think people should be very clear that the president is in fact trying to steal the election, and Democratic governors specifically have been warning about this. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who is term limited in Michigan, she is the vice chair of the Democratic Governors Association. And I want to point people to an interview that she did with NPR, where she talked about the real concerns that she and other governors have about what the Department of Homeland Security could do and how they could be used in this election coming up. So in my understanding with conversations with a number of different Democratic entities and lawyers is that Democrats are preparing for chaos before, during, and after this upcoming election.
Oh, yeah, prepare for it, because I believe it is coming. Oh, yeah. So let's check out the comment. All right. It was posted, the racist post on Truth Social. It was posted at 11:44 p.m. No staffer posted this, and it was up for 12 hours before it was taken down. So the president of the United States is a blatant racist with a heart full of hate. That's right. It's like I said in my other video. They keep wanting him to apologize. Apologize for what? He has so much of this dark energy in his heart, hate in his heart, and dark energy all up in him. There's no apology coming from him or this administration. Okay, there is no way a staffer did this. It was Trump. Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, we do not have to accept this and will not. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over here and see some of the things about Trump and his racist antics that he's been racist for years. So Donald Trump racism, the definitive list updated. So this was written back. This article was written back in January of 2018, and then there's a little bit up to date one that from 20. I think it was December 2025. We'll get to that in a moment. So Donald Trump has been obsessed with race for the entire time he has been a public figure. He has a history of making racist comments as a New York real estate, and I will put the link to these articles in the description because they're kind of lengthy, and I'm just going to barely, touch on them. But if you want to go back and revisit them, then that's fine. I would definitely put them up. Okay, so where did I leave? More recently, his political rise was built on promulgating the lie that the nation's first black president was born in Kenya. He then launched his campaign with a speech describing Mexican as rapists. The media often falls back on euphemism when describing Trump's comments about race here, racially loaded, racially charged, racially tense, racially sensitive. And Trump himself has claimed that he is the least racist person. But here's the truth. Donald Trump, he is a racist. He talks about and treats people differently based on their race. He has done so for years, and he is still doing so. Here we have attempted to collect compile a definitive list of his racist comments, or at least the ones that we know, that's publicly known. So this here is a video of when a lady was trying to rent an apartment back in the 70s but Trump and his real estate company was given preferential treat to whites according to the federal government. So we're going to go ahead into this video.
It was 52 years ago. My friend and I applied for an apartment in the Wilshire in Queens, New York, and we were both told that there were no vacancies. I realized that there were vacancies because they still had the ads running, and I was pretty sure it was because of the color of our skin. We were professional people with good credit ratings, no.
Okay, so this video is not playing. All right, so let me see. I think I'm gonna go ahead. Let me. Okay, I tried to get this video to play, but it keeps messing up everything. But it was a lady named May Wiggins, and she wanted to rent an apartment from Trump, but she was denied and told that there was no vacancies. And her and her friend later found out that Trump was just giving preferential treatment to whites, and that was according to the federal government. So Trump treated black employees at his casino differently from whites, according to multiple sources. A former hotel executive said Trump criticized a black accountant. Black guys counting my money? I hate it. I think that the guy is lazy and it's probably not his fault because laziness is a trait in blacks. Woo. Okay, now here's is this where he took out that full page ad. Bring back the death penalty, bring back our police. And so this is so super small, I ain't even going to try to read it. So in 1989, Trump took out ads in New York newspapers urging the death penalty for 5 black and Latino teenagers accused of raping a white woman in Central Park. He argued they were guilty as late as June 2019, more than 15 years after DNA evidence have exonerated them. All right. So this is just some of the things that he has done. And like I said, I will put this article, the link to it in the description. In December 2015, Trump called for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States, including refusing to readmit Muslim American citizens who were outside the country at the time. Trump said a federal judge hearing a case about Trump University was biased because the judge's Mexican heritage. All right. In June 2017, Trump said 15,000 recent immigrants from Haiti all have AIDS, and that 40,000 Nigerians, once seeing the United States, would never go back to their huts in Africa. He is so disgusting. I'm telling you, he is this disgusting human being. And I don't even know who would even marry somebody like that? Unless they was like felt the same way he did, birds of a feather flock together. So these are just some more of his racist uh things he done. And this was updated in August of 2019. And these are 13 examples of Trump's being racist. He claims to have a great relationship with the blacks, which is totally something a normal person would say. All right, so I'm not going to read all this again. I would just put the link in the description if you are welcome to go back and read. I'm gonna read the first three. He attacked Muslim Gold Star parents. All right. So I don't want to read all that. It's a lot of reading. And the second one, he claimed the judge was biased because he's a Mexican. And another one, the Justice Department sued his company twice for not reading to black people. And that was in that video that just every time I played it, it just messed up my whole system for some reason. Her name was May Wiggins, I believe. She wanted to rent an apartment, but she was turned away. In fact, discrimination against black people has been a pattern in his career. All right, so yeah. All right, so it just go on and on and on and on and on. All right, he refused to condemn the white supremacists who are campaigning for yes, yeah. All right, okay, so yeah, it just goes on. Alright, yeah. So I'm just gonna end it. He questioned whether President Obama was born in the United States. He treats racially groups as monoliths, and the Hispanics are going to get those jobs. They're going to love Trump. Oh my God. Okay. All right. So yeah, like I said, I will go ahead and just put the links to these two articles in the description, and you are welcome to go ahead and read them. So, like, talk to me in the comments with y'all. How do you feel about this post being up for 12 hours and then he caught a lot of backlash before it was deleted? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification button so that you can be notified each and every time I drop a new video. Okay, y'all. I'm blessed. I'm out. Y'all be blessed. I see you in the next video. Bye bye.